Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Take Back My Brain. I'm your host, Laurie Hammer. And as you know, we talk about the brain all the time, but we have not really dove into sleep yet. And so I have a sleep expert on today, Dr. Peter Martone. He is all about sleep position and your central nervous system and everything surrounding that, because we know if we don't sleep, we cannot heal. So, Dr. Peter, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. This is great. I'm looking so forward to it. Brain is my thing, man. That's great. I love the title of the podcast. Fantastic.
Awesome. And everybody listening, make sure you like, subscribe, and share because every person you know probably has an issue with sleep and they are going to need this podcast. So I have to ask, I mean, you're a chiropractor by trade. You've been doing this for decades, right?
Yeah.
And how did you kind of land on sleep?
Well, yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I guess I never woke up one day and said I want to be a sleep specialist because
Right?
really, ultimately, that would be like the most boring thing in the world to do. So I was talking to an intern about this today. Your life tends to zigzag into where you end up, and the most, I guess you can say, authentic place to be is when you're in a space where you are in a space because of need of healing yourself.
Exactly.
so so I am in the sleep industry. I believe it or not, I didn't enter the sleep industry to help people sleep. I entered the sleep industry to be able to fix their structure while they slept.
Ah,
Because at 40 years old, at the time, I'm not, I'm actually, I was 39, I'm 51 now.
you're still
And
39. It's
I
fine.
know that's exactly, listen, I was in more pain 39 than I am at 51. So
Me
I don't want
too.
to go back there. That's where I ended up, that I herniated my disc when I was at 39, and I had back pain every day, even as a chiropractor, and working on people hunched over. I just attributed to like my mountain biking and hang gliding and just doing all this crazy stuff. I said, oh well, you know what? I can help everybody else's back, but not mine. Finally, my disc herniated, and I'm in the emergency room, and I'm hooked up on Dilaudid. They gave me. I was in so much pain, they gave me so much morphine in the emergency room. They asked my wife if I was a drug addict.
Oh,
She's
no.
like, he doesn't even take any medication. So that's how bad it was. And I remember I'm like, I got to get to the bottom of this. So I started reviewing x-rays. And I found that when you lose a cervical curve in your neck, the body, it causes dural tension in the spine. So the body picks that up with shifting the hips. So as your head comes forward, your hips go to the right. So you get hip misalignment.
Yeah.
And that happens through the psoas major muscle, and the psoas major attaches directly to a disc. So I figured out that I didn't have back issues all these years. I had neck issues, and it was because of the way I was sleeping. So
Right.
in theory, at the time, I said if I sleep on my back because I curled up in a ball like a little armadillo to sleep, but if I slept on my back and I thought about alignment first and I forced myself to get my neck back, my body posture due to the riding reflex would adjust to my neck position. So they
Right.
started sleeping in that position. Next thing you know, my spine untwisted and I never had a back pain since.
That's amazing because I know sometimes I sleep on my side, sometimes I sleep on my back. I never sleep on my stomach, and I tend to just sleep on my right side. So, uh, but I've always been diligent about my neck curve because I worked for a CBP doc for a long time years ago, chiropractic biophysics, if nobody knows what CBP is. And he was so big, obviously on the curves of the neck. And so I've always laid on a towel and all that. And my neck curve hasn't changed very much, but I can tell now that I like hit 51. I'm like, I've stopped that habit for a long time until I heard you talking again. I'm like, oh, I need to get back to that.
Well, you can see when you look, your head shifted a little.
Yeah.
And when your head shifts, that's because the curve is forward. And then body posture adjusts to that. So you pick up a vagus nerve issue, which gives you a digestion issue, hormonal imbalances, and immune system. And that comes from that shift. And that's all directly related to your sleeping position.
So are you saying the best position is for on the back with your head back like this?
I'm saying, yeah, the best position is on your back, but with your neck supported in, there's no support under your head. So that's kind of one of the issues with a lot of these cervical pillows is they support your head too much. And when you support the head and the cervical spine at the same time, you end up dropping the curve down. So you need to put a pillow under your neck, and your head should be about a half an inch off of the bed, just hanging,
Oh,
and then that is the most corrective sleeping position to be able to restore the cervical spine.
that's amazing. Okay, so let's dive a little bit deeper in that because there's like a sleep deficiency epidemic, I think, right now, because people are not healing. And we have all these people that have sleep apnea. I just spent a week with my dad away in Maryland at a wedding, and we slept in the same hotel room. I'm like, I didn't sleep because he doesn't sleep because he snores so bad. He stops breathing. I'm like, Dad, you have sleep apnea, but he's not overweight. He doesn't have any of those, signs or symptoms that they label, for sleep apnea. But it was awful. And so he went to the doctor because he had another checkup. And I told the doc, I'm like, I don't think he has high blood pressure because he's got something wrong with his heart. He has high blood pressure because he has sleep apnea. Like he's not sleeping. And I would love your thoughts on that.
So that's absolutely true. And also back sleeping will amplify that if you don't manage the airway correctly. But anytime so let's look at what sleep is. Like what's the need for sleep? Like why do we have to sleep? Well, we have two different systems in our body. We have sympathetic systems, which keep you alive and surviving. Then you have your thrive systems, which are your parasympathetic systems. So
Mhm.
at night, your parasympathetics are like taking your iPhone and plug it in. So as long as you plug in, you recharge to 100%, you can use the apps during the day and you'll have balance of energy, expenditure. Recharge at night, expend during the day. And your body is going to have this nice balance. Well, if you do not recharge at night, your body's sympathetic system tends to engage. So
Right.
now you have parasympathetic stimulation. That puts a lot of stress on the heart and the pressure increases. And at night, when your parasympathetics are supposed to be engaged, you are not engaging the parasympathetics enough to balance out the system. And that is further complicated with loss of cervical curve, because loss of cervical curve affects the integrity of the vagus nerve, which is 80% of all the parasympathetic tone. So if you're side sleeping and you're shifting the head to one side, not only are you getting a sympathetic dominant system, you're getting parasympathetic inhibition due to the loss of curve. So it further complicates the problem.
That's amazing. So talk a little about the vagal nerve and what's that doing in our body? And why
So
is that so important?
so the vagus nerve, I wonder if I can pull this thing off.
Just take it off the wall, Peter.
I try it, it fell once, so I like drilled it in. But behind me is the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve, the vagus nerve here's the spine. Vagus nerve comes right out from underneath the atlas right here.
Yeah.
And then there's another vagus nerve that comes this way. And it goes all the way down to the digestive tract. It supplies 80% of all of the parasympathetic tone within the body. So the vagus nerve is critical in hormonal health, in immune system health, and in digestive health. If you have an issue with any one of those systems, you have a problem with your vagus nerve. And the problem is due to head position. So you've lost the cervical curve, the head's translating, any ringing in your ears. I can now look at people
Yeah.
and tell them what's wrong with them. And that's why I'm telling you, because I can see that, right? Because of that head
What
shift.
do you see? You see my head shift?
So when your head shifts, I know there's a vagus nerve problem. So
Yeah.
I know that there's going to be ear issue.
Yep.
There's going to be digestion,
Yep.
immune system, and hormonal imbalances, all associated with low vagal tone. And you'll pick that up with heart rate variability. So let's say a low heart rate variability. A lot of
Yeah.
times people can't get those really hard, those high HRVs because of the structure. The structure is the limiting factor in your health. So what ends up happening is people don't realize how important it's tied in to sleeping position.
Gotcha. Well, that makes sense. So you just diagnosed me with everything that I have. So that's nice. Thank
And a
you.
right ankle sprain on you, preventing you from turning your head to the left.
Shut up. I sprained my ankle all the time when I was younger. My right one, always, since high school, probably junior high.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, way. So crazy. Because
Look,
it's all translates up. So that's what I mean. I like your posture is a blueprint of your neurology's battle with gravity. So I know by looking at you what your neurology looks like underneath, and then I know what the functions in the body if I then take it a layer deeper. So then understanding biomechanics and understand how the body shifts, like that high shoulder on the left side and the head translates to the right, that's coming up from an old ankle sprain. So just understanding how I'm a kinesiologist in my undergrad major. So the study of human biomechanics is so interesting to me. And so you can just look at people, read their posture, and then identify what their health is and what their limitations are internally.
that's amazing. So as a nutritionist, functional nutritionist, I'm focusing on clearly nutrition, right? So we're working on gut health, we're working on brain health. And, sometimes things just don't clear up. And you're like, what the heck is going on? And if I'm understanding you correctly, it could be your posture.
It's neurology, without a doubt.
Neurology.
So you have to understand, nerves control everything.
Okay.
So the first thing I want people to work on is this structure. In the first place they can work on that is at night when they sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So we start with what's called the sleep triune. The sleep triune is start with alignment, create safety for the subconscious brain, then get the conscious brain out of the picture. So we want to start with alignment because your structure affects function. So when you have issues internally, it's 99% of the time it's within your neurology first, and then so when you hit limitations with people's gut health, it's going to be within the vagus nerve. And if
Mm-hmm.
they have gut health, they have hormonal imbalances. If they
Yep.
have that, they're also going to have heart palpitations as they get older. They're going to get a restless heart. All of these things are just a deeper progression of low vagal tone, which stems from loss of cervical curve and ultimately goes back to sleeping position.
Okay. So first thing to do in sleeping position, then what do you do?
You start with alignment. So is this going to be on video, or are we going to how's this translated?
This will be video or audio. So
Okay. All
we'll
right.
have it on both mediums.
So I'm going to put myself into the position and you explain what I'm doing. Okay.
Okay.
So right now we have this neck nest, right? So I'm going to start with alignment. So I take the neck nest, I put it under my neck. Look where my head is.
Yep. Yep.
So it's off of the back of the neck nest, and the weight of my head is gently distracting my cervical spine.
Okay.
So I'm starting with alignment. This is the body in alignment. Now, the problem with that is we have identified the subconscious brain as the issue. So we've created this animal sleep avatar quiz where they can take a Dr. Sleep Right. And if they go to Dr. Sleep Right, you have 3 animal avatars.
Okay.
You're a gorilla, you're a armadillo, or you're an ostrich.
Okay.
And, right? So depending on what sleep avatar you are, that identifies your subconscious brain. So your subconscious brain is where the problem is, when the reason why people toss and turn. Actually, let me just rewind a little bit, okay?
Okay. Sounds good.
When we were kids, or when I was a kid, I was always told, go to sleep. I was never taught how to sleep. I would just say, go to bed.
Bed. Mm-hmm.
And my bedroom, I lived in Malden, Massachusetts. I was on a busy road, and on the front porch, and there was a bus stop, and people every once in a while would come and play a joke and knock on the window and run off the porch. So I was petrified whenever I went to bed. I
Sure.
thought I was just going to get abducted.
Uh-huh.
In order for me to fall asleep, I need to have all of my animals around me, curl up in a ball, create this sleep cocoon, not knowing it. Then I would be able to fall asleep.
Uh-huh.
Well, your body will not fall asleep. What was I doing as a kid innately? I was creating a safe environment. not
right?
for my conscious brain, but for my subconscious brain, right?
Right,
So your subconscious brain needs safety ultimately in order to stay asleep. And when you lie on your back and you're opened up, that is an unsafe position for the subconscious. So when
right.
the conscious brain looks at it and says, no way can I
No
do that.
way.
Because the conscious brain is, we need to get that out of the picture. That's what screws everything up. But understanding the needs of the subconscious, I do that through identifying your animal avatar. So
Okay,
once I know your animal avatar, we're starting with alignment. Everybody needs to start in alignment, but everybody does that differently based on your animal avatar. And then we teach the subconscious brain how, I mean, the conscious brain how to shut down. We do that also based on what avatar you are.
okay, so I'm an armadillo, so I'm like all like snuggly I want to be.
Did you take the quiz?
A long time ago, yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So yeah, you're an armadillo. So that's normally, and then now look. Do you see the like the video you're looking at me through the video monitor?
Yeah, yeah,
Like look, make a circle and look at me through that circle, real small,
real small.
and then look through the lens. Okay. All right. Good. Bring it back to your eye.
Oh,
So
backside.
bring it all. Yeah. All right. Good. And are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right.
Okay, so you're cross dominant. So that is a big issue when it
Oh,
comes to sleep because
uh-huh.
you're left-eyed and you're right-handed. So that left eye right-handed is a brain that can't shut down. So not you specifically, but this type of avatar has unexplained underachievement. You're always comparing yourself to everybody else. You internalize things. You think about things a lot, and
I do
you
that, yes.
you're an internalizer. So that internalizer, its physiology just needs to feel even safer. That's why you're the armadillo avatar. It does not want to be opened.
Okay,
So we with the animal avatars you are, we have to do a few things. We have to first, and I actually asked this question: what's the opposite of thinking? Because you can't think yourself to sleep. The opposite of thinking is remembering. So
okay,
if you're thinking, the blood's in the front part of your brain.
okay.
If you're remembering, the blood is basically in a different portion of your brain, or the energy is in a different portion of your brain. So you can remember yourself to sleep. So the person that needs to be in the cross-dominant brain that loves control needs to control something. So
Uh-huh.
you can control remembering just as well as you can control thinking. So
Oh,
if you focus on remembering, you'll stay asleep and you won't wake up in the middle of the night thinking because you put yourself to sleep remembering.
I
And
love
then
that.
you do that, and then you use sleep masks, pressure on your chest, and pressure on your forehead. That's the way I would start with a cross-dominant armadillo.
Oh, that's hilarious because I do sleep with like a heavier pillow on my chest when I try to sleep, go to sleep on my back, with my head. I need to get your neck nest because I don't have one, but I do try to do the curve. But I always end up on my side, but I always have to have something on my chest. And my husband makes so much fun of me. He's like, why do you, I'm like, because I need it.
We're weird people. I get it. I'm a
There
cross-dominant.
you go.
I'm a gorilladillo. So I'm a gorilla armadillo.
That's
But
awesome.
it's I get it. I use pressure. I put a pillow on my forehead. You come in my room, I got a pillow on my forehead. Why? I don't know. It's like I think I'm an ostrich. I want to stick my head in the ground,
Right?
but it just creates a nice protective environment.
Okay, so when you do those things, the pillow on the chest, the forehead, then you can kind of relax into that parasympathetic and just remember yourself to sleep. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and then the parasympathetic is ultimately what you need to stimulate. So that's why the pressure on the eyes, the pressure on the forehead, that's stimulating your sympathetics, parasympathetics. Sorry. Another thing, I'll give you one good hint too that would also help you. Do you meditate at all?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So if you meditate or you relax anytime during the day, always, 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 anytime you are relaxing or meditating or slowing your heart rate down, because your heart rate is your breathing. So by slowing your breathing down, you're going to slow your heart rate down. Always do it with a scent. I don't care
Oh,
what the scent is. I don't care if
okay.
it's citrus, lavender, eucalyptus, whatever it is. And if you always meditate or do some breathing or pray, whatever you do, and to calm your system, and you always do it with the scent, anytime you're exposed to that scent, your body will automatically calm down because you're training the brain to stimulate the parasympathetics when exposed to that scent. So then you also use that scent at night on your pillows or in your room, on your clothing, and then that will also help you.
That's amazing. All right. We'll have to start doing that here in our house. So, so we get ourselves in alignment. We're working on the subconscious. What's next?
So, well, it's the conscious. It's
Okay.
really focusing on that, getting you out of your own way. And then remember, actually, so it's the conscious, getting out of your conscious own way. You got to slow your brain waves down. You do that by slowing your respiratory rate, then the heart rate follows, then the body core temperature drops. So in order to get deep restorative sleep, right, where your body recharges, that typically happens in the first third of your sleep cycle. So it's really important for your body to cool. So you should never share covers with your spouse. You should always have your own covers. And because you want your hands and your feet out of the covers so your body can temperature regulate out the arteries of your hands and your feet. So you want to really maintain and be very, very conscious about how late you eat. If you take any stimulates or drink any coffee, it shouldn't be afternoon, and things like that. So I'm doing a lot of, especially with my hormonal women that are going through menopause. I'm trying to really get them to stop eating early, really, really early. Like we're talking like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock early, and only
Yeah,
have a little bit of snack if they want before the bed if they're hungry, because your digestive tract really affects your hormonal levels, especially when you go into bed.
absolutely. I sleep way better if I'm done eating by 6.
Yes.
Way better. And I just turned 51. So, I'm kind of in that, menopausal state there. But I can attest to that. And I teach my clients that too, because if I eat like at 8 or 9 o'clock, which sometimes I'm really hungry, I'll have a little snack because I work late. But even that sometimes will mess with my sleep. And I'm like, I'd be better off if I just fasted.
Yeah, you gotta really be really conscious about your core temperature. Core temperature is so important.
Yeah. So my daughter, she has always been hot, like ever since she was babe. Like she's always just kind of run hotter. So she sleeps with fan on high, but she also is kind of like that armadillo, she like snuggles up with everything she can, but then she's like all over the bed. But when we go, she used to wake up when we go on vacation because we didn't have the fan going for
Did
whatever.
she have ear infections when she was a kid?
She did not. She
Did she
had
have
one.
strep throats when she was a kid?
Nope.
Did she have digestion issues?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's definitely, that's low vagal tone. There's an issue there that goes a little bit deeper. Does she have allergies now? And
Food, yeah, but not
yeah,
like environmental.
and does she have any of the bumps on the back of her arms? Any
Not
digestive?
anymore. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just a child running warm is an imbalance. So, I would love to evaluate her posture. So look at her and see how she stands.
Yeah, she does stand a little wonky
Yeah, there's
sometimes.
probably something funky up in the neck all the way down.
Yeah, and she's got like knee issues and
Okay,
she
yeah,
plays volleyball and
then it's a spinal issue.
yeah. So that's what we always think, but how to fix it, I'm not quite sure because we go see amazing chiropractors here. And
So picture chiropractic like this, and this was kind of my thing. Chiropractic is like taking hardened clay and putting it in water.
okay.
What does that do to the hard clay? It makes it more moldable. But if
Hmm.
you still expose the clay to a different mold, you're going to have the same curves. You can't adjust a curve back into a spine. You can adjust the spine and then open up space for the curves to change. But in order to change the curves, you need to do it at night over long periods of time while you're sleeping. And then during the day, you got to work on your balance. You have to work on like a wobble board. If not, you're going to have foot
Yeah.
issues. You're going to
Yeah.
have foot and knee issues from forward constriction of the of the spine,
Okay. Well,
of
that
the
makes
muscle tone. Sorry, because you're leaning on your toes.
so much is dependent on the biomechanics of all of this.
It's
Oh my
so
gosh.
so when you build a house, this is what I tell my clients.
Yeah.
You build a house. In order to have that house go up straight, you need a nice strong foundation.
Yeah.
And that's how we all work within our world, PT and yoga. The body works completely opposite, right? It's not your core. It works through the righting reflex by leveling the head down. So your head, how you hold your head determines body posture. It's not, your foot ankle issues. It comes from the writing reflex where the body's trying to keep the eyes aligned and decrease dural tension. So body posture adjusts to head position. So if you have issues structurally within the spine, you don't have weak muscles, you have uninnervated muscles, and that's happening neurologically because the
Mhm.
muscles are always secondary. They're minions. They're being told what to do by the neurology. That's how I can look at people, read their posture, which is their muscle tone, and then tell you what's going on neurologically. Then you back in a plan to fix it. And the plan is sleeping position and balance work because you got to retrain the brain to get out of pain.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. My mind is just kind of blown. I've heard you speak before, but this is like even more in depth than I've heard you speak, I think. So, or I've understand it better now. One of the two.
Well, you have to understand when you're developing. I know all this stuff is going on even 5 years ago. I think that might have been when I think you were
Yeah.
when I was at Dr. Pompous, correct?
Yep. Yep.
Right. But I'm putting it all together in a way that's more palatable for people because now you can I can explain it to be able to I can I can express myself to get people to understand it.
Yeah.
Or it's so hard for me to teach people how it's all put together just because there were so many variables I had to cut out in order
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
I had to cut out all the fat so I could give you the meat.
No, that's awesome. My audience is going to love this. So when we're like, everybody's going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go take the quiz for one, find out what I am. And then like, how do they work with you? Do you have a program? Like, what do we do next?
So right now, I don't know when this is going to launch,
Okay.
but if you take the quiz in 2 days from here, I'm actually doing a webinar that's explaining each animal avatar.
Oh,
That will be posted after your animal avatar quiz, so you can listen to that. At that point, if you love it and you jive with the way that I explain things and you want to take this further, we're doing a 12-month sleep, way better sleep academy. Because
wow.
as you can understand, it's way more than just sleep, right?
Yes.
So to have way better sleep, to have way better health, you need to have way better sleep. And the way is awakening the full potential of a well-rested, aligned you. And alignment is in the spine, but it's alignment in life. So if you look at your physiology and you're not happy with your physiology, it's a homeostasis of everything going on. So we give you, like stress management tips, but it all stems from sleep. Then when you wake up, what are you doing, exercise wise? How are
Hmm.
you clearing your mind? And every month we have a different topic that it's the way that I live. And I'm taking people through this 12-month academy program.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Sign me up. So,
Yeah, we are, and then, so that's why I had to come up with quizzes so I can analyze a like a
yeah.
lot of people, and then I can give all of my feedback based on graphs, right? So
Hmm.
we've had about 1,000 people right now. We just launched the animal avatar quiz about a month ago. We've had about 1,000 people take it. And once you get a cross section of 1,000 people, like all these polls they're doing
Yeah.
politically, you have a good cross section of the entire population. So I know, most people are going to be armadillos.
Yeah.
Then a smaller, then the next is going to be a gorilla. Then your smaller population is going to be ostrich, and then identifying those, and then I have a whole host of data on then how we need to correct those things. So it's pretty cool.
That is really cool. What I want to go back to the sleep apnea. So for people are going to say, well, if I sleep on my back, I'm going to snore, 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 and my tongue goes back, and then I stop breathing. What do you do with that?
So when you sleep on your back and you put a pillow under your head, you close your airway down. So yes, you're going to snore, snore, snore. If you sleep on your back and your neck is into extension, your tongue can't drop back into the canal. So as long as your neck's in the right position, you're going to open up your airway, and there's no way for your tongue to obstruct it because.
Hands.
So they did these studies, and my friend's an anesthesiologist. So that when somebody's out on medication, the big thing is their airway. They can't have their tongue obstructing the airway. So they
Right.
put their neck in a specific angle that opens up the airway. So the neck nest is designed to put that neck in that exact same position, but then the key is staying there. So
Yeah.
how do we stay there? And that's really where the education comes in. We can do some elevated sleeping. We can put a pillow under your jaw to keep the mouth shut. I'm working with a company now to see if there works. So different devices that are like appliances that somebody can sleep with versus an apnea machine. So we're doing different things constantly, innovating within this space to be able to think about alignment first, subconscious second, and then conscious brain last.
Wow. That it just blows my mind. I'm so excited that you're doing all this, Peter. So
Thank you.
excited.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, it's been a passion, I never knew it was a passion, right?
Right?
It's really where I believe I can scale my biggest change and have my largest impact, because the place where people potentially spend 8 hours a day doing nothing, if
Mhm.
I can improve your structure just doing that, that's the best thing I can do for people on a regular. I mean,
Right.
everybody sleeps and you have to sleep.
You
So
do.
why not sleep the best? Why not
Mhm.
improve your posture? Oh, I can't do that. That's such a it's that's the conscious brain minimizing the body and the subconscious. The conscious brain always screws everything up. So with the I can't and I won't, or there's no way, that these are all the excuses I bet you hear dietary wise. I can't
Oh
do that.
yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm gonna die. What? Go that long without food? What I'm gonna pass out. Yeah, you will now, but the body needs to go through adaptation.
Right.
You can't buy a more comfortable pillow. You need to make function comfort. So you need to buy, that's why everybody hates their pillows, because they're using it the wrong way. The average person tosses and turns 20 to 40 times a night because the body's in pain. So that's why.
I love it. So like people are like, well, I have this one pillow right now. Can I modify my current pillow or do I need to buy your neck nest?
So what they do is go to necknest.com, look at the videos of how I want the position of your neck.
Okay.
You can, I have, so in my, so I still practice 3 days a week in my chiropractic office. So there, what I'll do is I'll say, listen, you don't have to get a neck nest. Bring your pillow in and let me see if we can adapt it. Usually, like if I have let's say the best pillows that you're gonna have that you'll be able to adapt somewhat, and this is what I mimic the neck nest after, is a soft down pillow.
Okay.
Okay. And when you use a soft down pillow, you don't use it flat, you put it on its edge. And then when you get that down pillow and you put it on its edge, then you get it under your neck, and then just get that head off of the back of the pillow.
Okay.
And then that is how you can use what you're using now. And then if it doesn't work, or it's uncomfortable, then you can choose a neck nest. But at least go to necknest.com so you can see it. But if you want to take the animal sleep avatar quiz, that's at drsleepright.com.
Okay. That'll all be in the show notes, everybody. So you don't have to write that down, remember it while you're driving or whatever you're doing while you're listening to this. So what else do you want my listeners to know before we kind of wrap up here?
Now, when you see this, right, the biggest thing you're going to be able to say is, I can't sleep like that. I'm fall asleep. I'm not in control. I'm going to end up somewhere. There's no way. There's no way. No, no, no. Listen, that's all the conscious brain. The only lifestyle habit that I want you to do, in the only place where I want to live, I don't care about your entire night's sleep. I want to live in the first 10 minutes of you falling asleep. That's
Okay.
all. I only want you to focus on lying in this position and trying to fall asleep that way. Once you're out, let the body take over. Who cares? It doesn't matter. But if you do that consistently, over and over and over again, you only focus on falling asleep in that position, it'll be a game changer for you. So
Wow.
only stay in it. Let's say you're in that position for 45 minutes and you can't do it and you got to go to your side, then go to your side. But at least your neck was in 45 minutes of traction at night when you were trying.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's easy enough. I can do 10 minutes. I can do 15, whatever it might be until I fall asleep.
Yeah.
Very good. I'm gonna get back at doing this again. So thank you very much. This is fantastic. And I have to say this, I love that chair, that chair in the back, Dr. Peter. If you're not on, jump over to YouTube because it's fantastic.
Thank you.
There
And
is a story behind that chair?
there is. My wife got it at some like yard sale or something, and it
Uh-huh.
was in my house. I loved it. Then she was going to get rid of it, and I'm like, "There's no way you're getting rid of that chair." It was my favorite chair in the house, so I put it down here in my sleep podcast room. So I do
Fantastic.
I do some of my interviews in the seat. I love it. I love it.
It's great. I want that chair. That's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, gosh, Peter, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for this amazing message. Everybody jump to all the websites and stuff I have down in the show notes and check out Dr. Peter Martone. So thank you, Peter, and God bless you. And we'll have another chat another time.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you in the next episode.